And a very interesting situation, the touring cars too, because they will start the way they finished in a 20-lapper here yesterday. Glenn Seaton starting from the rear of the grid. The boys have done a great job in the PJ team to get the car onto the grid. Sitting beside me, Queensland's most expensive export, Dickie Johnson. Nice to have you with us, Dick.
Thanks, Daryl, and what a fantastic way to start the 9th Australian Grand Prix, but with a 10-lap screamer of a 5-litre touring car race.
Let's have a look at the grid. We've just explained to you it's lined up how they finished yesterday. Larry Perkins won the 20-lapper. He's there. Mark Scaife finished second to him. Jimmy Richards sits in behind him. Now, Wayne Gardner, starting from position 4, is really going to do a kamikaze start. He told me just minutes ago, he's really having a big go. It could be his last drive for the HRT team. So he says, I'm all fired up, ready to go. Then we've got Alan Jones, drove well yesterday. Johnny Bow, Peter Brock, Ashby, and so the grid rolls through. There's a lot of cars here, but as they get to the end, have a look. The last name you'll see, Glenn Seaton, and the boys have done a great job. And the mechanics of these touring cars this year, because there's been a bit of huff and puff around some of these circuits, I mean, the work to get them back on the track the next day is great.
It certainly is. As a matter of fact, probably the hardest work guys in most teams this year has been the guy who does the panel and paint, because there has been a fair bit of paint swapping. The cars are extremely reliable. So, you know, the mechanics get a fairly easy run by comparison to some of the other cars. But certainly the panel guy is the ones who are the hardest worked at this point.
Peter Jackson team there, they've worked very, very hard to get Glenn Seaton back on the track, even though he's starting from the rear of the grid. Now, Dick, yesterday we talked about the Holden advantage since the new rules allowed them a little bit more freedom in design. They've now won the last 6 of 7 races. The last sprint race, as we're looking at now, this type of event, was way back in round 7 of the Shell Series, which was here in South Australia at Malala.
Well, I think that's basically because the Commodore guys have now really started to get their act together as far as the sorting out the package that was granted to them halfway through the year. The Falcon at this stage is still in exactly the same trim as it started 1993. So we are now obviously looking at ways, I suppose, and Cam's in their wisdom will look at ways of being able to balance the cars a little more to have more even racing.
Yeah, well, I hope so, because it's been a fabulous season. Gee whiz, the V8s have really brought the crowds back, and you can see the drivers now just laying some rubber, getting some heat into the tyres. So important here, only 10 laps now. Dick, all of the cars will start on a much softer compound than they did in the 20-lapper yesterday.
Well, I suppose, Darryl, given the fact that the weather today is quite a little bit cooler than what it was yesterday at the start of the race, so I think you'll find that these guys, and only being half the distance, are going to use tyres that are considerably softer than the ones they used yesterday.
Glenn Seaton, to the left of your screen, you can see the big blue car. Alan Jones was pretty fired up yesterday. Johnny Bow sitting there nice and relaxed, put in a good drive. Larry Perkins, of course, won. Now Thomas Mazera, the other HRT Holden, led the race and lost it up at Pub Corner, put it into the wall. He's not starting today. The fuel tanks are ruptured and they just didn't have a replacement. Almost set for a start. Buckle up, Australia. This will be a good one. Out come the V8s. The big front goes off the line. Perkins, the 2 Whitfield cars. Look at Gardner. He said he was going to have a big go, Gardner. He muscles his way up and pops in. Over they come. The camera in the track there, and you can see rocks and stones and bits of rubber as they go through.
And it's Mark Scaife who's got the lead from Larry Perkins, who won this race fairly convincingly yesterday. Scaife obviously had a few problems and had a couple of losers, but at the moment he's up the front.
The reason he had the losers yesterday, he said the car was too circuit. They'd never been here before with the Holdens. They've stiffened the whole car up. And he said, really, it's going to be a lot better package. That's work from the word go. Larry Perkins in second. Gardner living up to what he said he was going to do. Jones comes through. A little bit of crunch there with your man, John Bow.
Well, obviously, that sort of put him off sufficiently where Bowie got through as well. And Seaton is already up to 10th place, so he's the guy we've got to watch at this point.
Glenn Seaton, you can see him in the back shot there in 10th place already. Started from the rear of the grid. Great drive from him. Larry Perkins won. Oh, there's another little bit of panel damage going again. Fired up over the weekend. He's driving with the old flair and aggression. There he is, hard at work. Has a look in the mirror. Down a gear. He's got John Bow right behind him, and Johnny Bow's going to really test him out now.
I think so. I think it's all in braking duel around this circuit, and Bowie's one of the latest of the late breakers. So I think Peter Brock, who had a fairly ordinary race yesterday, really.
Johnny Bow comes up behind AJ. Oh, AJ lifts him up. He's really got the skirts going today. AJ, there's Brock. And Seaton right in behind Brock. What a drive from Seaton.
Well, Seaton certainly come up from a long way, and Larry Perkins has had a lose.
Oh, Mark Scaife trying to get back onto the circuit and got collected. Debris, carnage going all over the place. I tell you what, when they come out to play the V8s here in Adelaide, they do knock the walls about.
Well, not only the walls, but they knock each other about, and that's what I was saying before, Darryl. Like a 10 lap around here is...
Gardner shoots through, so Gardner's now in the lead. Here comes Scaife, spins it there. Jonesy collects him, and the rest sneak through.
But now Seaton's up to about 6th place, which is not a bad effort in a lap and a bit. But Gardner's the one.
Wayne Gardner said to me, I'm going to have a big go. It's my last race, I think, for this team. At my side into the braking area,
Jimmy Richards there. Yeah, Jimmy Richards is trying to outbake John Bow, which I think if you're on the outside of Bow, you learn not to stay there for very long.
Have a look where Glenn Seaton is. He's just at the tail of that group. There he is there. What a drive from the back of the grid in the 10 lap. He's in 6th spot. Jimmy Richards seems to always get through these races nice and clean, the car. Never ever too many scratches on it.
You know, it's all the experience, and Jimmy's been around a long time, but I'd be feeling sorry a little bit for John, because the simple reason, now that he's lost that headlight, that allows a certain amount of pressure underneath the bonnet of the car, which he will lose front downforce, and the car will be understeering probably a lot more than he would like at this point in time.
Glenn Seaton, marvellous job to get the car back on the circuit after damaging 2 corners yesterday. Bodywork damage to Mark Scaife. I mean, half the car's missing off the front, no doubt about that. He's gone into the pits. I think he'll stay there. Wow. They really got him. I mean, Jonesy collared him in a big way.
Well, that car, actually, Scaife's car would be absolutely undrivable without a front on it like that. It'd be a car that you wouldn't even think it was connected to a steering wheel. It would understeer so bad.
Wayne Gardner now out in front. Alan Jones closing in 2nd place. Then it's Johnny Bow. Then Jimmy Richards, Peter Brock and Glenn Seaton. Fantastic drive from him to get in touch in just such a short span of time from the rear of the grid. But Gardner, whoa, I tell you what, he'll be hard to beat from there, Gardner.
He may be hard to beat from there. It all depends, Darryl, because the simple reason, it depends on what tyres the guy put on his car. If he's got a big enough buffer, he'll be able to look after them very well indeed. But I think you'll find that he's going to find an attack from a few of the cars from behind very shortly.
Mark Scaife, you can see the damage to his car. He wouldn't be too happy about that, Scaife. He was pretty keen to do pretty well.
By the look of that, I think he's broken an oil cooler at the same time, which has obviously put a bit of oil around everywhere, and that's where Jonesy actually came in contact with him.
Okay, Alan Jones chasing Wayne Gardner. Well, Mark Scaife is over the pits and Charles Stewart's with him.
Mark's still having a few handling problems on this track. Yeah, no, the car didn't have a lot of grip to start with, and at the end of the Wakefield Street braking area, just locked the back brakes. It was out of control, so that's how it is. It's the game we play.
Pretty scary moment for you as the other cars came through.
Well, you know, you never like to be parked there in front of everybody, I'm sure, but I actually tried to turn it around and get it out of the way. And I'm sure Larry was trying to do the same, but it was a bit of chaos.
Best motor racing. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Mark Scaife after that accident with Charles Stewart in the pits. Here's Jimmy Richards, his teammate now. Has got Brock all over the back of him. Seaton in behind him. Some great dices. Look at the attitudes of these cars around the streets of Adelaide. They really do look spectacular.
Well, actually, Bowie, I know the tyres that he's running are the softest compound Dunlop we've got. We're giving them a run here just to make sure these tyres that Dunlop developed, especially for the Grand Prix for us, for this 10-lap race, and we're just waiting to see now how long they're going to last, and hopefully they'll get through to the end.
Well, Gardner is the hare. Here come the hounds. They're chasing. Jonesy's still in 2nd place. Johnny Bow, there's the boy, former world champion, 1980. Really having a great year. He's back in a team that's given him a competitive car, and he's having a good time, AJ, these days.
It's unbelievable the amount of carnage that always happens in the 10-lap race on Sunday, Darryl, because it's just, everyone sees that the red mist comes down in front of their eyes and away they go.
I think it's that sort of circuit, though, isn't it? I mean, it's just one of those things, you feel like you've got to go hard, and you don't want to see the walls.
Well, I can tell you, there's one guy I wouldn't have liked to have been, that's Mark Scaife, because, as he said, there's nothing worse than sitting there with about another 20 cars coming down on top of you. That is a dreadful feeling.
Larry Perkins was telling me the Dunlops he uses take quite a while to warm up, and that was why yesterday he sort of sat back for quite some time before he started getting some good grip on the road. Your car, is it much the same?
It would have been yesterday, but today, because of the compound we're using, these tyres really start to come on very early. Now, this is the telemetry from John's car. As you can see, he's in second gear and will run up against the rev limiter here. You can hear it pop and bang on the brakes, and the right-hander to sort of run down towards Stag Hotel. Now, this is where Thomas, you cannot afford to be offline in this part of the racetrack, because once the tail starts to get out on it, you have a hell of a job trying to get it back. Through Stag corner, he's 6.5, 7.5, and changes into third gear and up to fourth, and he'll give it a run to fourth in there and just let it run through this. But this is a very important corner, because the speed onto that really has an awful lot to do with your maximum speed down the end of the straight. And as you can see, they're not really slow down the straight there.
Marvellous technology. You can sit there and actually sit in the car with Johnny Bow. You're driving it with him. Look at the speed readout there. Quite incredible.
First gear.
They're these homegrown V8s. I mean, they have surprised people with their speed.
Well, they have, actually, and I think the development that's happened over the last 12 months has made these cars an awful lot nicer to drive than what they originally were. They're very steady. They feel very stable on the racetrack. But from here on in, it's going to be hard to find any more speed out of them, because really with the aero packages and things that they have, they just really are just so good.
Well, back on the main straight, Alan Jones still has John Bow sitting in behind him. Jimmy Richards there at the moment, a little bit of a parade coming through. Look at AJ through there. He just flicks the thing sideways, gets it up in the air, and then just cranks it through.
Well, AJ's really hot this weekend, because as we said yesterday, he's really there wanting to impress all these Formula One guys. Do you think he really wants to go back to that Formula One stuff, Dad?
He's still very popular, AJ. You walk down the pit lane with him, the foreign drivers, they remember the good times. They always say he was one of the most likeable champions ever come out of Formula One.
Oh, he's got so much humour about him too, which makes it worthwhile talking to the guy.
And through the S's, he is sensational through there. You can see they're working pretty hard. Johnny Bow's probably...
He's starting to look like Cliff Young, I think.
Johnny Bow's catching him, no doubt about it. Johnny Bow's starting to catch him. That body damage to the front of the car, well, they've both got it, haven't they? So they're both driving damaged cars.
Exactly. You know, it just loses a little bit of downforce on the front, which makes it very difficult to control going into the corners. But Bowie's got Jimmy Richards starting to hound him, and right about now, I think he'll be trying to catch Jonesy, but once he gets there, I think you'll find that Jimmy Richards will be right on his tail.
Peter Brock and Glenn Seaton have dropped back off that pack just slightly. So I guess Johnny Bow catching up. You can see a brake lock up there from AJ's. The car gets out of shape a little bit, comes up into the air. This is pretty hard through here, isn't it? Because the car gets a big wobble.
The car gets a wobble, and not only that, but you've got to try and stop the thing at the same time while the attitude of the car is unbalanced. And that's the difficulty, and that's why half the time people lose it going into corners, because the rear brakes will lock up and the back will just come around that quick, you just can't catch it.
Watch AJ through here, fantastic, really throws the car around. Johnny Bow doing a great job, he lost nothing there. Perhaps maybe a little bit here. Now he closes up on the brakes, as you said, great under brakes.
He's a demon braker, Bowie. He's got very good car control, but I think what's pushing him up there is the sight of Jim Richards looming ever so big in his mirrors.
As we mentioned yesterday, Peter Brock in the background may be going back to the Holden Racing team with his sponsorship from Mobil. Gee whiz, if he combines and the telecom money, that'll make them very competitive. Now that's the top places for you. After 6 laps, Gardner, Jones, Bow, Richards and Brock. But coming back to Brock, that would be a very strong team.
It'd be an extremely strong team. It'd be, and actually, as a matter of fact, I think you'll find that by the time you combine a couple of budgets like that, that they'd be one hell of a force to be reckoned with, because Thomas Mazira is certainly no slouch behind the wheel.
Jimmy Richards just sitting on a different line. Gardner 7 seconds ahead. AJ is pegging him back slightly. Johnny Bow comes up under brakes again. Look at Richards side by side. He just backs off a little. Bow goes through. Really now he's starting to hustle AJ. Through here he's very good, isn't he?
He certainly is. And as a matter of fact, I think AJ might be starting to feel a little bit of difficulty in his tyres. Obviously there's been a coming together there that Jimmy Richards just clipped the front spoiler of somebody who's obviously having a go here. Excuse me.
Johnny Bow gets him under brakes.
You.
Look at that. We talked about how good he was under brakes. Jimmy Richards has a go too, gets right in behind AJ. Watch him through the S's at the end of this. Richards now pulls out, he's going to have a go. If he's got the legs, he has it. AJ falls in the line through there. Beautiful bit of driving. This will be the
break that Bowie is looking for, I reckon, because I think he'll be able to pull away from AJ a little bit maybe. And just give him that little breather while he fights with Jimmy Richards. But no,
AJ
Bowie.
back! You're kidding, AJ back! Bale goes wide and AJ and Richards comes through! Oh, under brakes, the boys are great!
Bowie actually out-demoned himself in that one, I think.
Ah, oh, fantastic action here. They always turn on a great show, the tourists here at Adelaide. The Grand Prix mechanics, they get into all the vantage points. They love to see these cars here. But AJ, under brakes, we're talking about how good Johnny Bowe was in that department. Well, AJ's got a bit of ticker left too.
He certainly has, but I think the guys that be holding their hands over the eyes are the paint and panel guys from all the teams, because they get on the raw end of the stick, I think.
So Alan Jones now has Jimmy Richards to worry about. Johnny Bowe lost 2 places there. He just got bumped back. Look at the debris on the track. There's fiberglass all over the place. Peter Brock's probably closed up on that group just a fraction. He's got a little bit closer to the action here. Now this is going to be interesting because Johnny Bowe was fantastic through here last time and got some big advantage. Under brakes, right up under Jimmy Richards. Talk about a demon. He's right. You can't get any closer than that.
Actually, I think he was just counting the number of teeth on the crown wheel and pinion to have a... He was that far under the back of him.
Jonesy's gone wide. Johnny Bowe gets him too. He comes in with Richards. They muscle AJ out of the way. Will he come back like last time?
Well, you just cannot put yourself that far off the line and expect no one to get past you. But here we go.
Another one. They come through and he's lost an AJ. Over the ripple strip and in a big way. Well, he had a go. He was going to try the same manoeuvre twice.
Well, as a matter of fact, Harold, I'm extremely glad that it's 4 months to the next race, because we're going to need it to fix the cars.
Oh, what a move from AJ. He was going to have a go. That's his favourite part of the circuit, through the S's there. He came up on the inside, and boy, oh boy, he's still going. He is fired up today.
You definitely don't try and go under Bowie and stay there, because he'll try and hang around the outside. He'll do anything but give up position. That's his motto, and I tell you what, he's a hard nut to crack.
Well, the Peter Jackson team worked very, very hard last night to get Seaton. Here it comes. Now look at that. He just poked the nose in there. Actually, Bowie did a great job hanging on.
These cars haven't got an awful lot of lock, which makes it fairly difficult. Well, Jonesy was obviously saying, well, excuse me, but you're on the piece of road that I want. And unfortunately, he came off second best. Or, well, fortunately for Bowie.
This is from the helicopter's point of view. Look at this. There he goes.
Look at that, Bowie. Didn't even turn the steering wheel. He helped him round the corner that well.
Oh, boy. OK, so Johnny Bowe now chasing Jimmy Richards. Jimmy Richards is chasing Wayne Gardner. Gardner had a 7-second lead. We'll try and give you an idea with all the carnage behind him. He's had a clear track.
Well, Gardner's off into the night. He's just said, see you later, guys. I'm away.
He's built it to 10 seconds now. So comfortable.
Well, Jimmy Richards, he's got no rear bumper. I think John Bowe must have taken that off him.
So Brocky closing up as well. Here's Gardner, final lap. Gee, he'll be excited about this, Wayne Gardner. I mean,
this will be his first real touring car race.
Exactly, and I know he won a heat. Was it in Tasmania?
He won one of the 3-lap dashes in Tasmania, because you think there's some carnage here. You ought to get into the 3-lapper.
Well, he loves to let the car slide already. He drives a little bit like he used to ride. He used to like power slides on a motorbike, and he doesn't mind them in a car either.
He's got very, very good car control, Wayne. He's done extremely well over the period of time he's been running these cars, and he's a fairly tenacious sort of a guy.
Well, he reacted to the criticism that he got from a number of magazines and journalists and other drivers. He didn't like the tag Captain Chaos. He said, I'm better than that, but I'm on a learning curve. And by gee, he's had a pretty handy season.
He's had a very handy season, and he's got a handy lead right at this point in time. And being the last lap, I can't see anyone getting near him.
Jimmy Richards, second place. John Bowe in third place. Coming through the traffic now. That's Peter Brock back in fourth.
Look at Bowie's car. He's had more hits than Elvis.
And Glenn Seaton did. That was a good drive early. I think he just saw what was going on and just said, I'm out of this, I'm dropping back. Gardner has had the clean circuit. And really, he did exactly what he said he was going to do. Make a good start and try and run. There he goes. Oh, don't lose it now.
Well, he's just trying to put it on two wheels, but it was the bike he was thinking of rather than the car.
The Wollongong Wes, he takes his first ever touring car full race win. He'll be excited about that. Jimmy Richards in second place. Johnny Bow comes across in third. Good drive from him, considering. Peter Brock back in fourth. Here's Glenn Seaton. Glenn Seaton. Still like cars. So they finished in that order. The rest of the field coming through now. And it has been an entertaining race. It always is. I think this Sunday morning race is one of the great touring car races through the season. Look at Wayne Gardner, absolutely delighted.
He certainly is, and so he well should be, because he's done a tremendous job. He started way back on the grid a little bit. I think he started about 4th or 5th on the grid, which I think you'll find is a damn good drive from there. There was a bit of carnage up front early, and that put him in good stead for the rest of the event.
And of course his wife Donna, she'll be competing in the celebrity race a little later on. Dick, you'll be giving me a hand out with that as well. We watch Wayne Gardner go around. Jimmy Richards in second place, Johnny Bow in third. So no doubt about it, the V8's plenty of fantastic action. Stay where you are, Australia. There's lots more to come your way from the streets of Adelaide.
Very aggressive, but didn't quite keep it together. A couple of laps to go.
No, in the end he had a little whoops-daisy, whoops-daisy. He really is taking a look around, isn't he?
I don't think he was all that happy.
No.
Okay, right now we're talking to the man who won the race. It's Wayne Gardner talking with Charles Stewart.
Wow. Congratulations, mate. What a way to finish the season,
Thanks, Thomas. Yeah, just in time, huh? I knew I could win one of these, but I had to wait till the last. But it's in front of a great crowd, and I'm really happy. Finally got it together.
Very determined today.
Well, yesterday, you know, I got a bad grid, and I came through to 4th, and I thought, well, maybe I can improve on that, but I was very fortunate. A couple of guys spun in front of me, and I took the chance and went for it, and I made it, and I'm wrapped.
Great. Well, congratulations. Looks good for next year.
Oh, thank you.